What's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you guys have been having a great Tuesday and a great work week so far. I want to let you know ahead of time, this is going to be a longer video. We got a lot to talk about. And obviously the main portion of this video is going to be breaking down what is likely now going to be a pretty significant storm system, a snowstorm for a lot of people. I'm talking about snow as far south as the deep south, the mid-south, and areas of the Ohio Valley, the mid-Atlantic, the northeast. There's a lot to break down. In the beginning part of this video, we're going to break down what's going on tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be its own small-scale active day. You're going to have a severe weather threat. You're going to have pretty much a small-scale winter storm for areas of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. So we're going to talk about that in the beginning of the video. If you don't want to hear about that, go on and skip ahead, and I do break down for the majority, last 85% of the video, what is going on with this significant storm system as we're getting into our Thursday and Friday and Saturday. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. I appreciate y'all's amazing support. Hit me up on social media, Twitter, Facebook. It's a great way to stay up to date with constant information. I constantly got the information flowing for you guys, so definitely hit me up there if you're active on one of those. If you guys got anything I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, gives others an opportunity to do so too, and we're all looking out for one another and glorifying God doing it. So let's get going. The first topic is going to be the system that's going to be cranking up as early as really overnight. As early as maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, we could have snow breaking out over areas of Pennsylvania, areas of West Virginia, Maryland. And as we're getting going through in time, I'm going to show you the longest long-range HRRR model. This is going to be a marginal event, meaning snow is going to be falling potentially heavy, but at potentially a warmer temperature. I'm talking about temperatures in the low 30s. So as we're getting going here, if you're confused at what time frame we're at, this is for tomorrow. This is 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're getting going through here in time. It's going to be all rain. It's going to be probably a cold rain, maybe some wet snowflakes mixed in Washington, D.C. And I think areas of far northern VA could get a quick thumping of snow before you ultimately change to rain. But New York City, Philadelphia, you guys can maybe start off with some rain as you're getting into the 7, 8 a.m. time frame. The sun's coming up. And then the potential for the column to crash, therefore the rain changes to snow temporarily, and maybe for the duration of the event, we're getting into about mid to late morning. It's snowing at a pretty good clip for areas, almost the entire area of New Jersey, state of New Jersey, Long Island, it's snowing. I would say 2 days ago, this didn't look like a big event for areas New York City points north, but it now does. In fact, almost the entire state of Pennsylvania, besides maybe Erie and areas up in that area of Pennsylvania, see snow tomorrow and probably accumulating snow. Now, you're not going to get those 10-to-1 ratios. You're probably going to get a much lower ratio, 6-to-1, 7-to-1 ratio. It's been very warm up here, so it's going to take a quick burst of snow to really start to pick up that accumulation for it to happen up here. But getting through the midday, early afternoon time frame, snow begins to fall in Connecticut as early as late morning. All of Massachusetts, areas of southern New Jersey, southern Vermont, interior New York State, Rhode Island, snow's falling throughout the early afternoon. This gets going here and it continues throughout the afternoon hours, potentially heavy at times. And then we're getting through the evening, and by the time you're going to sleep tomorrow evening, most of the snow will be off the coast of the northeastern seaboard here. So a quick hitting snow event that almost sets the tone for another snow event for the Northeast coming up, and including a lot of other areas. One last thing I'll mention here about this is the potential for a frontogenesis band. And basically, this is a band of snow that's very heavy, and it's driven by warm air advection, which means the entire column, the atmospheric column, is saturated, which means you don't have a lot of dry air in the atmosphere eating up any of this snowflake growth, if you will. Therefore, it's snowing at very, not warm temperatures, but it's snowing at warmer temperatures. Therefore, the flakes are pretty large, and it's thumping. It's basically unloading snow, probably for a couple hour time frame. It can potentially drop a quick couple inches of snow that could cool the atmosphere aloft, and that could set kind of the stage on the ground for some quicker accumulation. So this continues to move through. I think anybody could see this heavy band all through Pennsylvania, especially central to eastern areas. Long Island could see it. New York City could probably see it. And then maybe a heavy band of snow moves into southern New England as you're getting into the early afternoon hours, and it could really thump for a few hours. It really could. So we'll watch that. As far as what something like the European is showing, I'm not going to show you the National Weather Service. Actually, I'm kind of disagreeing with it. I think it'll snow a little bit more than maybe what the National Weather Service is showing. But in general, the National Weather Service is showing just widespread 2 to 3, 2 to 4 inch type totals. The European, a little bit more, just north of New York City, actually showing over a half a foot of snow in northern New Jersey. But watch out. I think somebody could sneak out 6 inches of snow. We'll see how this goes. But this is going to be if you like winter weather, a nice snow event for areas of southern New England. Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. We'll have to see how this goes. And does this trend a little bit further north? So, that being said, that's for tomorrow. What also is for tomorrow is a severe weather threat. And you got a slight risk up. The latest short-range model guidance really isn't that scary looking as far as severe weather, but we'll see how this trends as we get into the overnight morning time hours. But the reason you have the slight risk up is because you have this 5% chance of a tornado. And this is including areas of South Carolina, the Midlands, Eastern Midlands, areas of the entire southern half of Georgia, and then a very small area of the panhandle of Florida. There's going to be severe weather tomorrow. How significant is it? I don't know. But let's take a look at the HRRR model, what this looks like. Going through here in time, we're getting into it could really start up as early as late morning, tomorrow morning for areas of central Georgia. You're going to have a line of storms making its way through. We're getting into the early morning hours, and then they'll begin to get into a little bit more juiced up environment, some higher dew points in the 60s. A 40 to 50 knot low-level jet really gets the atmosphere turning out here. And it warms up pretty good out here into the 60s and 70s. And we have to watch any of these storms that develop. I know this doesn't look crazy, that impressive on the HRRR model, and it really has kind of downtrended as far as what it looks like on here. But watch out for any of these individual storms, and they'll be lasting through about late morning to about the early to mid-afternoon hours throughout the rest of South Carolina, the coastal regions, even up into North Carolina. Watch out these storms. The NAM, kind of the same deal. You look at these storms, the NAM is a little bit more, has a little bit more of a severe weather look to it as we're getting going here. And watch out for all these severe storms that could form. I'm not saying all of them's going to be severe, but all of them have the chance to be severe. And it looks like it kind of elongates the system in general, and it makes a severe weather threat last a little bit later into the afternoon and evening for areas like South Carolina, North Carolina, even southeast Georgia. We're getting going here in time. There's still showers and storms flying around. So I think it'll be a stormy day in the southeast tomorrow. I really do. So let's get going about this significant storm system for the end of the week. So we'll start this off overnight tonight. This is the system that's going to continue to bring rain overnight for Tennessee, the Mid-South, the Southeast in general. It'll link up to some cold air. We've already talked about this system. Going to bring some snow for that. So we're going to skip past that system, and here you go. Northern piece of energy dropping down. Some pretty dry snow falling, meaning you're going to have better snowfall ratios where this snow's falling. This snow right here in Kansas and Missouri showing up at around Thursday afternoon, midday Thursday. This could be pretty intense snow, moderate to heavy snow that could really accumulate. We'll have to watch that band of snow. Begins to redevelop, and why it does is because a piece of energy down here and up here begin to interact with one another. Therefore, you get a much bigger expansive area of precipitation that begins to develop. You have a pretty decent moderate to heavy snow band that begins to develop. This is not just your 20-mile wide snow band. This is going to be an area of snow in general that begins to develop for southern Illinois, and this is just the GFS. What we're going to do is compare the GFS, European, take a look at all the snowfall totals, everything shows, and compare and contrast. That's what we're here to do. That's why I normally break these things down. Sorry, I should have mentioned what model we were looking at. So we're getting into Saturday evening, right? I mean, Friday evening. You got snow breaking out in basically the 80% of the northern and central half of Arkansas. Southern Missouri, more snow falling. And then it really starts to crank up. Low pressure really begins to develop as we're getting into the middle of the night, Friday night into Saturday morning. I'm talking about midnight, 1, 2 a.m. Any rain, any moisture quickly changes to all snow for areas as far south as maybe even northern Louisiana. Almost the entire state of Arkansas seeing snow at this point, the Quad States region, snowing in the Ohio Valley, Ohio, Kentucky, the entire central to western half of Kentucky seeing snow overnight, the entire western half of Tennessee seeing snow, Memphis is snowing heavily, northern Mississippi snowing heavily. We'll get this going another time frame, another 6 hours. We're getting into Saturday morning now. All that rain that was showing up in eastern Kentucky, eastern Tennessee begins to switch to not just snow, but potentially heavy snow. In fact, I would not be surprised if somebody sees or hears a crack of thunder. It could get some thunder snow out of this, but heavy rain quickly changes to heavy snow. Gatlinburg, Tennessee. If you're planning a mountain trip to the mountains of Tennessee and North Carolina, Virginia, and you want to see snow before winter heads on out, because I will tell you, it's going to warm up after this system. This weekend's the weekend to do it. If y'all want to see the last hurrah of winter, and you live in the southeast and you know you're going to get nothing from rain from this, head to the mountains. I would love to do it, honestly. I actually was looking at cabins this afternoon at work when I had a little slow period, but then I quickly got back to reality and realized that wasn't in the best interest financially for my family. But let's keep this going here. Heavy snow showing up in Kentucky, the Ohio Valley. All rain changing to heavy snow for West Virginia. Same thing with Pennsylvania. Up there, the interior New York State, Buffalo, seeing snow. We get this going here, another time frame. And you still had the back end snow in Tennessee, still snowing in West Virginia, Tennessee. And even watch, you back this up one more time frame in a Saturday morning. Watch northern Georgia. Could see some snow, especially those higher elevations, especially northwest Georgia. Watch out Chattanooga. It might not be snowing for 12 hours, but it could be a heavier burst of snow that could drop a few inches of snow. We're getting into the next time frame. We're getting about midday Saturday, this coming Saturday. All rain for the coastal regions, Boston, New York City, all of New Jersey, all rain. But as this low pressure scoots on by, that rain could change to snow. But the jury is still out. The European is much more aggressive for you folks in the Northeast. But I really think for the entire Northeast in general, everybody's going to see snow sometime this weekend, not counting the event that's going to happen tomorrow. I think that at least almost everybody's going to switch to some kind of snow. So that's the GFS. Now that we're 12 minutes deep into the video, we can now look at the Euro. The Euro is actually much more aggressive. I'll look at more of a broader look here. This is for Friday midday. You have rain, snow, wintry mix maybe showing up in Dallas, Texas. It's very close for you guys. Winter weather showing up basically for the whole entire state of Oklahoma. I know it's kind of small on your screen, guys. I do apologize for that. But, from the Euro, you're showing snow in Oklahoma. You back it up and you look at the GFS for Oklahoma, and same kind of deal. So there's a little bit more agreement now. Where this morning when I made the video, there was a big question mark on this area right here in general. But the European and the GFS are kind of agreeing on this little area. And they're actually, it makes this video much easier because they're agreeing now. And you keep this going here. Let's go on and switch to a much closer up look and look at the Euro. And that's why I showed the snowfall accumulations based off the Euro. This is the event that's going to happen tomorrow. This looks like a snowstorm on its own. I'm going to be very intrigued to see how these snowfall totals end up being in New England tomorrow, even around New York City, Long Island, Connecticut. It's going to be very interesting how and if that overperforms. Getting through here in time, look at the snow in Arkansas. I'm going to stop this for late Friday afternoon, evening. Snow's starting to move in. Heck, some of the model guidance suggests that you might not even start off as rain in areas like Memphis. This might just flat out start out as a snow, where a few days ago it was looking like it was just going to be a rain to snow kind of deal. It might start out as just pure snow as this Arctic front really is caught up with this. And then the low pressure begins to develop. You keep this going. We're getting into the wee hours of the morning, Saturday morning. Look how aggressive the Euro looks. Heavy. This isn't just moderate snow. This is heavy snow in Tennessee, heavy snow in Kentucky for about 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning. Heavy snow into basically the entire central and northern half of Mississippi, heavy snow. You got snow moving into Huntsville, Alabama, North Alabama. You got rain changing to snow in the western side of the Appalachian Mountains. Gatlinburg changing to snow. Knoxville changing to snow. Chattanooga changing to snow. West Virginia all starting to switch over to all snow. You got interior snow. Pittsburgh could be a big event for you. Not going to leave you guys out in Ohio. I really think if the entire eastern to southeastern to southern sections of Ohio, this could be a substantial snowstorm for mid-March standards for you guys. I really think it can. We'll keep this going here. We're getting into just flat out Saturday morning. At this time, everybody's up, rocking and rolling. It's probably about 8, 9, 10 a.m. Saturday morning, give or take an hour, obviously. It switched from 80% of the storm being all rain to maybe some back end snow for as far south as Birmingham, Alabama. It's getting very close to Atlanta, Georgia. The entire northwest part of the state of Georgia, Chattanooga, for example, Tennessee, and around the border here, switches from heavy rain to heavy snow potentially. And then is actually absolutely puking snow in the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee, even Virginia. What the difference is with the Euro is the Euro wants this to make this event a little bit further east in general for the Northeast and the Eastern U.S. in general. So you keep this going here. We're getting into Saturday afternoon. It switches this rain all the way to snow. And you now even have snow showing up in the northern fringes of North Carolina into the Virginia border. This turns into accumulating snow for Washington, D.C., Maryland, the Delmarva area, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City, heavy rain mixing going over to snow. And it could absolutely thump snow for several hours. It'll turn into a raging windstorm, which is something I need to remember to mention, guys. There is going to be strong winds with this system. This isn't just going to be just a chill rain falling to a nice heavy snow with no wind. When you have these two systems interacting like they are, they have a chance to become negatively tilted. And as they're getting stronger and deepening, it causes more of a tight gradient in the wind field. So you're going to have stronger winds with this too. So you got to worry about that too. And I haven't mentioned that enough. And I'm going to start to talk about that maybe tomorrow, definitely tomorrow, because it's definitely an aspect of the storm that we need to mention. But we're getting into the Saturday evening time frame. You're switching just to an all-out snow event for New England. So, this week is truly winter's last hurrah, if you will. So it's pretty crazy to see. So what I want to mention here is the GFS. I want to mention this. It's kind of going back and forth. This is the current run at around 06Z Saturday, which is around 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday morning. Stop it here. This is the latest run. I'll back it up to the previous run. You see the difference here? I'll go to the present run. Bang, 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 bang. That's a pretty big wobble back and forth. The GFS is kind of trying to start its own trend. The European, the last few runs, has stayed about the same. But the GFS on the latest run has ticked this west, which would mean bring areas more like Missouri and the Ohio Valley in general more into the play of heavier snow. It doesn't really change a whole lot for Tennessee right now unless it drastically kept trending west. But it's still kind of back and forth. You look at the last few runs. I'll go all the way to the present run. 1, 2, 3, 4. See how that low pressure wobbles back and forth? So there's still confusion on the exact track, but the European is pretty much staying the same. And each time, and really the reason why it's going back and forth is because the difference in the interaction between this piece of energy and this piece of energy tells us where this low pressure is going to track, how strong this system is going to be earlier in its storm cycle. And, you look at the latest run, they interact. They really don't just interact. They begin to phase together, especially Saturday, and they begin to tighten that wind field. That's why you get those strong winds, and this becomes neutrally tilted and potentially negatively tilted across the Northeast. And that's when you have to worry for a substantial winter storm for the Northeast. You really do, and that's why the precipitation field becomes so intense, because you have such a dynamic system with a negatively tilted trough, which is a strengthening storm system. So, we're 18 minutes in and we're just talking about snowfall accumulations, but you know me, guys, I like to get deep into this. I don't like to come up here and make a 10-minute video when you got so much to talk about, and I appreciate people who continue to tune in and listen to the entire video. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody who watches in general, but GFS 10-to-1 ratio, snow showing up for Missouri, snow showing up for Nebraska. I keep wanting to say Nebraska. It is Nebraska too, but Kansas, substantial winter storm, snowstorm, several inches. It's not going to be a long duration event, but a few, 2 to 4, 5, 6 inches of snow could fall at a half a day's period. Oklahoma, very tricky state. This area of North Texas, Northeast Texas, tricky. Just north of Dallas into southeast, I think eastern Oklahoma will be favored for winter weather with this. It seems like the same kind of system has kind of occurred, but this one's much different. It's not one where, all the winter weather is going to ride up to the northeast here. It's going to go more easternly. So Arkansas, off the GFS, has Arkansas, almost the entire state of Arkansas, seeing accumulating snow. This is 10-to-1 ratio, so you can cut this down a little bit. But still, GFS wants to give areas like Memphis, Tennessee, 5 inches of snow. Northern Mississippi, a few inches of snow. You go on and flip this over to a more broader look at the eastern U.S. in general. Now, I know you're looking at all this intense snowfall totals. This is actually showing the snow for the event tomorrow too. So you could probably cut down these snow a little bit. So this is basically the event for tomorrow. This is the event for midweek. See how the totals really escalate there? But down here, it's not. It's not going to be snowing tomorrow in these areas. GFS wants to put over a foot of snow in certain areas of Kentucky, certain areas of southeast Ohio, pushing 6 to 12 inches for widespread for areas of West Virginia. It wants to give Pittsburgh a big, probably one of their biggest snowstorms of the year in mid-March. Pumping out anywhere from, the GFS wants to say 6 to 12 inches of snow basically in general. And then the interior, New York State, Buffalo. This could be a nice track winter storm for you guys if you guys like winter weather. But look down here in Tennessee, even northern Alabama. You guys are really starting to get in the way of seeing some heavy snowfall accumulations. The mountains, the entire state of Tennessee, Kentucky, watch out Indiana, Illinois, especially the southern sections. Substantial snow for this time of the year. Really is. You look at the GFS ensembles, it's even more impressive. I mean, you have a 2 to 3 to 4, 5-inch mean across the entire state of Tennessee and even northern Alabama, northern Mississippi. I just can't get over it. And I'm not calling it a 1993 redux or anything like that, but it's going to fit around almost exactly the anniversary of it. What would that be? That would be, oh, guys, don't let me get my years mixed up. 30-something years, so it's pretty crazy, almost 30 years. So it's pretty impressive to see it happening around the time. I've had a couple comments pretty much say, hey, we're gonna get one in March. I'm telling you. And you guys are right. You guys who called it, whether it was your gut feeling or whatever it was, this is impressive. I'm not saying we're gonna get them kind of totals. We're definitely not. That storm was ridiculous. But this is going to be an impactful winter storm and a pretty impressive winter storm for mid-March standards. And, Kentucky, West Virginia, great signal. European. You look over here, very close to Dallas, but it's just right on the fringe of seeing maybe something small-scale accumulation-wise in Dallas. But like I said, eastern Oklahoma, this favors you guys. A few inches of snow possible. Oklahoma City, it's close. But I definitely think y'all will at least see some kind of snow falling. But same thing. The GFS and the Euro are beginning to agree now that these areas of southern Missouri, it seems like I've been talking about southern Missouri and northern Arkansas for weeks now. Y'all guys have been getting all kinds of crazy weather. But snowfall is looking likely, and even the Euro is almost in agreement with the GFS. I really think Memphis could see 3 to 5 inches of snow, guys. I really think it's possible, and I think areas of northern Mississippi could see some substantial snow for this time of the year, which is 2 to 4 inches, in my opinion, for really any time of the year for any place in Mississippi. But like you said, like I said, you got decent totals showing up everybody for March standards. The entire state of, this is the European, the entire state of Tennessee, Kentucky, and Ohio. Of course, you don't have those crazier totals showing up that GFS shows, but GFS always tends to get a little crazy here. But this is just really impressive to look at. The European ensembles here, stout signal for areas into the deep south and mid-south. It really is. I mean, look at that. I mean, a few inch totals. Last thing I'll look at here, and I've always loved looking at this, and I showed this in the beginning of the video. Weather Models has this awesome site, and it's basically chances to see 1 inch of snow, over 1 inch of snow. And I mean, look at the entire state of Tennessee. Almost the entire state of Tennessee is above 70 to 80% chance to see over 1 inch of snow. Kentucky the same way. So the signal is there for accumulating snow. It really is. And then there's a pretty high chance for northern Alabama and northern Mississippi too. The chances to see, let's go on down here to see 3 inches of snow. You know, it hasn't really latched on to the idea down here yet, down here into Tennessee and maybe northern areas of Alabama, Mississippi, and Arkansas. But I do think that this will continue to trend higher in time. So that's all I got, guys. Longest video in a couple weeks. And, you know, the break was nice last week. But here we go, talking active weather again. Been active last few months. But that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless everybody. I'll talk to y'all in the morning with an update.